the truck in to get the oil changed. They said they couldn't get the oil filter off and they weren't going to do it. First time I've ever gotten that excuse. Anyway, so I was pissed about that. And then on the way home here, more truck problems. See, the hood's up. I don't know what its problem is. It was like I was on a really bumpy road. Hang on. It's like I was on a really bumpy road and the truck was like chugging. I don't know how to explain it. Anyway, felt like I basically limped back here to this campsite. And the reason I came here instead of going to a shop is because it's Sunday and I tried looking on the internet and everything was closed for today. So I figured, well, I'll just come back here. So I did. Got what groceries I bought, put away. Talked with the two guys in the camp. I guess they were two campsites over. They were right over here, but they came back. Anyway, one of them said he had a code reader that he plugs in and is supposed to read something. So he came over and did that, and he got a code. I don't know what it was. And he said he was going to go finish watching the game, look the code up, and he'd be back. So in the meantime, in between, I just want to go home. I want this truck issue to stop. Every time I stop someplace, it's another issue. I don't want to be afraid to get in the truck and go somewhere and have it break down. Anyway, so put my groceries away, had a glass of wine, kicked, cursed, cried. When I'm in that kind of a mood, I clean. So I had seen on, I don't know what, somewhere on Facebook, someone asked what to use to clean the outside of their TrailManor. So I bought the stuff, and I just happened to have it, so I cleaned. Came out really good. Let me show you. Well, you've seen the befores because there was a video before this that showed how horrible this was. I mean, it was black and had oil stains on it, I guess, from the road. Anyway, I used this. And then I sprayed that stuff on, let it sit for a little bit, a couple seconds. And then I used this brush and I scrubbed it around. And then I wiped it off with clean water in this. And then with, can't think what the name of that is right now. Mr. Clean Scrub, I don't know. I used that to do around the caulking, which it came out super, super clean. Anyway, so I am waiting for that guy to come back. I think he's probably watching the other half of the football game. So when he comes back, I know more. I'll let you know. In the meantime, I'm just going to hope the wind blows me away. I'm just tired of this, Like I said, I want to go somewhere and not worry if I can get home or to the next campsite. And I've got probably a good 2,000 miles left before I can get home. Do I take care of this issue with the truck and just go home and abandon? I don't know. I'm really frustrated. Anyway, I will be back later. Bye. Well, as some of you may have seen on my Facebook page, didn't have a very good day. I took the truck into a guy that was recommended to me to have an O2 sensor changed replaced. And here in Kansas. And in the process of doing that, he put the truck on a hydraulic lift, and my truck fell off the lift. I don't know if the frame is bent. I don't know if there's any damage underneath the truck. I'll put a picture in somewhere in here. I was able to snap a picture of it. He had it up in the air, and it shifted or something, and it fell off the rack, and the back driver's side was hanging. And when I snapped the picture, was just about the time the back driver's side tire was starting to touch the ground. Shook me up pretty bad. That's the only vehicle I have. I still don't know what I'm going to do. I've been in bed since about 5 o'clock, napping up and down, a couple of showers. I don't know. I got to take the truck in tomorrow. I think tomorrow's Wednesday. To Topeka. Yeah, the truck's drivable, as far as I know. To have a body shop that my insurance set up the appointment to see if the frame's bent, if there's any damage underneath, to check the airbags. Not the airbags that deploy if you get in a wreck, but the airbags on the wheels. I don't know. Everything just kind of depends on what this guy says tomorrow. So I'm going to make me some tea, and I'll be right back. So, yeah, I don't know what this video will be way out of sync, because I'm going to post this video as soon as I'm done talking to the shop that's going to inspect the truck tomorrow, because I'll be in town. Been a rough trip. I counted up, and I think since I left my house on July 24th, I think if I've counted correctly, I've had the shop in the truck 5 different times. I think I'll double check my receipts and get back to you on that. But yeah, and it's things that, you know, the things that were wrong with it were things that were, you know, not user error. You know, the wheel bearings, the axle, something with the radiator hose, 2 alternators, getting the oil changed, getting the O2 sensor thing done. That's 7. And now tomorrow going to Topeka, Kansas, to have the inspector look at the truck, see if the frame's bent. Yeah, the running boards that you step on to get in the truck to sit down, it bent pretty bad, the one on the driver's side, and it bent pretty bad, the one on the passenger side, but not, the passenger side's not as bad as the driver's side. The guy said that he got it straightened out as best as he could. I don't know how he did it, because those pipes are like, I don't know, they're pretty big, and you know, that you step on. I don't know. I mean, he did get it moved down, because before it was like, I don't know, 1/2 inch away from where the door opened and closed. I mean, you could still get the door open and shut,
but now it's down. I don't know if he used a board on top of it and then used that hydraulic lift and, you know, squished it down. I don't know, which I don't know what that did. I don't know. But I'm a nervous wreck, as you can tell. I'm wringing my hands constantly. Let me get a tea bag. Yeah, not a good day. I was trying to figure out a way to pay for an airline ticket, get my brother to come out and help me drive back home because I just want to go home. I canceled my reservations to go to Texas, to the Lollapalooza and one other RV park, and going around towards Arizona. I called and canceled them. And I'm going to take a different route home. It's about 1,700 miles. I'm very disappointed. There were several reasons I wanted to take this trip. One was to retrace my husband's hunting route that he took when he went hunting. Two was to go see my daughter and other family members along the way. Wyoming to meet with my cousin again that I hadn't seen since I was little. The TrailManor factory. I mean, I did a lot of things. I did a lot of things that I wanted to do, but they were things that were on the way to Lollapalooza and the van build. I was so excited to do those. I really, really was. And then, you know, the thing with, and I get it. I'm not knocking Jamie at all. You know, that he was going to charge $75 per vehicle to get in. That kind of threw me because I'd already spent so much on repairs on this trip. It was just, you know, and with this today, it just wiped out my budget. I'm over my budget. I have a budget planned out, and I did have an emergency fund, which the alternator went out when the bearings burned up, when the axle had to be replaced. You know, that was part of the emergency fund. And I put back almost $3,000 for just emergencies. I thought, sure, I mean that. Don't count on it. Don't count on it. It wasn't the case at all. I've blown through my emergency fund for repairs. I still have part of my budget left for traveling, but now I need to move that traveling money over, you know, and that means like for food, gasoline, RV parks if I find a place that I have to pay. You know, I had that money set aside, and then I had my emergency money set aside, and now I have to use my traveling money, or what's left of it, to get home, because I just, you know, anything that happens to the truck between now and the time I get home just has to come out of my bank account, which is dwindling quick. Anyway, so I did turn to my insurance company, and I turned in a claim. And I didn't turn the claim in because the guy maliciously did anything. He was very apologetic. He was a nice guy. You know, I felt bad for him. I was glad that when the truck fell, it didn't topple over on top of him. That was my first thought. But you know, if the frame is bent, if it has to be totaled, if the tie rods or the steering rods or whatever they're called under there are bent, that's going to cost money to fix, and that's why I pay for insurance. You know, if my insurance company goes back on this guy's insurance, you know, that's their job, I guess, and that's the way it's done. But I didn't turn it into my insurance to get back at that guy. That's not how I roll. Anyway, I'm rambling because I'm still a nervous wreck. This was at 10:11 this morning, somewhere around there. And it's, sorry, I need a spoon. I don't know what time it is. 11:16, and I'm still a mess. Yeah, I was trying to think of any way possible I could buy my brother an airline ticket and have him come and help me get home. Not that I need help getting home. You know, I'm capable of driving. It'd just be nice to have somebody else. Like, I could drive 3 hours, he could drive 3 hours, I could drive 3 hours. We could pull over and park for the night somewhere. You know, I'd get home quicker. I'd have somebody there with me. I'd have somebody to help drive. But I don't think, my brother can't get off work, so I don't know. I mean, like I was saying earlier, yeah, I've done a lot of fantastic stuff. I've had a great time. You know, I got to go see my grandkids and my daughter, reconnect with old family members. Not that they're old, but you know what I mean. I've seen some beautiful places. Been scared out of my mind, you know, driving in bad weather and wind. It's all been wonderful. But, I don't know, I think I just need to go home. As much as I wanted to do the Van Build and Lollapalooza, I'm tired. And I can't get in that truck and go further, you know, more miles, to go enjoy myself and do what I want when I'm thinking in the back of my mind, what's going to happen next, you know? I don't know how to explain it. So, that's it. Oh, and guess what I forgot to pack? Loading up my TrailManor to come on this trip. I have a hot shot, which, you know, you pour your water into, push a button, it heats it up. It's electric, but, you know, I'm hooked up to electric right now. And I forgot it. And I also forgot a microwavable coffee cup so that I can make tea. So for me to make tea now, I have to boil a pot of water. Poor me, huh? I don't know what's going to happen. You know, what this guy's going to say tomorrow. You know, if it bent the frame, will they total the truck? And then what do? I got a TrailManor. I have to have something to pull it with. I don't know what to do. I don't have the money to buy a new truck. I just don't. Or even a new used truck, you know. These things are expensive. I felt blessed that when my husband passed away, I ended up with his truck. You know, I was thrilled, and it's a very sentimental thing for me to have, and the thought of them totaling it, you know, if the frame's bent, is that something that can be fixed? I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to drink my tea, and I'm going to try to go to sleep, because I have to be up at 8 in the morning later.